Okay, so I just want to make a quick video here on the BETAFPV LiteRadio 3 Pro. I put a post up on my community page and also on my Patreon regarding this radio the day that BETAFPV released this for pre-order. And I can only give you my perspective on my experiences on the sample that they sent me. It doesn't mean that customers are going to get this. They've assured me that customers should not have these problems, assuming that they're pre-ordering, and then whatever that they're going to be shipped with should be finished or completed. But I'm just going to go ahead and tell you my experience with this radio, where things are at right now, and I guess we'll see if I make a future video on this radio. I don't think BETAFPV is going to like this video at all. They're probably never going to send me anything again after they see this video, so we'll just see what happens. If they do send me another one, I will make a follow-up video, hopefully where everything's working. So they basically sent me a prototype radio here. It came with HTX 2.6, a sort of a pre-release version that was immediately, they already immediately updated it with some new firmware. So they sent me some firmware that would update the HTX radio firmware as well as the ExpressLRS firmware for the internal module. And for whatever reason, they sent me some prototype firmware. It actually was based off the Radiomaster Zorro internal ExpressLRS module, which was limited to 250 milliwatts, interestingly enough, and they're advertising 500 milliwatts of power. So they said, okay, we'll send you some new firmware. Go ahead and update the radio and you'll get 500 milliwatts. Now, I did do that. They sent the bin file and I updated it via Wi-Fi, and I was somehow unable to get the internal module to respond. It just basically went dead, and I couldn't. The loose grip stopped working. I couldn't configure it. So basically, and also I couldn't get the module to go back into Wi-Fi mode, so I could update it again. Basically, it was bricked. You know what happens when you sometimes update things via Wi-Fi. Something goes wrong in the middle of it, and if that happens, then the module's bricked. Now, obviously, I could open this up and probably find like the UART pins, whatever, and solder on FTDI adapter, and then reflash it via like an FTDI adapter, perhaps using the UART method. I'm still waiting to hear back from them on whether that would be possible or not, because the firmware is not ready in ExpressLRS configurator, at least of the version that's out today. The recording this video today is April 27th, 2022, and you can't update this radio in ExpressLRS configurator at all. You cannot update this to HTX 2.7. The source code for HTX 2.7 isn't out yet, nor is the source code for the internal module. So yeah, basically there's a lot of stuff up in the air regarding this radio, and even though it's on pre-order, there's no definitive date on when the radio will ship. I'm fairly certain that they will eventually resolve all of these problems, and the radio will ship with proper updating in ExpressLRS configurator. And the main thing that I want is to be able to add my binding phrase, and it has to be in the configurator to do that. And then also the ability to update to HTX 2.7 via the HTX Buddy. That should be a given, and I'm not able to do that either. So, and I just wanted to, let you guys know this is what's going on with my radio right now. It doesn't mean that in some point in the near future, when they fix all these problems, that they'll get resolved. I just don't know if that's going to be the case. And the reason I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix this radio is because now my radio won't turn on. I don't know why. What it happened soon after I flashed the internal module, and the internal module basically became bricked, and now the radio won't power on. And I know I have a fully charged battery. It looks like it's booting up, but then like the green light flashes and then it shuts off. So I basically just need to wait for BETAFPV to send me another one if I'm going to make a follow-up video. But if they don't, then this is the only video you're going to see. And yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of it's kind of a bad situation regarding this radio. Now, outside of the software problems, talking about the radio itself, it's got the Hall sensor gimbals. The construction of this, I guess, again, this is a prototype. I don't know if the customer's radios are going to be like this, but I had to open up my radio because the throttle stick was super stiff. They had it tightened down. There's a little tension bar in the side for the throttle, and a lot of dampening goo that was making it really super stiff. So I had to loosen that up so that I could use the throttle. And there are little screws for the springs to adjust the spring tension on the yaw and the roll and the pitch. My right stick here was getting snagged on something. I couldn't move it all the way up, and it's because the little cables that go from the gimbal sensor to the board weren't twisted. They were kind of loose, and it was getting snagged on something inside the radio. So I had to open it up. It's pretty easy to do. Just 8 screws in the back, and it just opens up. There's like a battery connector and then a connector for the back plate that holds it together. I just basically unplugged everything and twisted the wires, and then basically it got rid of that slack, then plugged the plugs back in, and everything's fine now. And these are Hall sensor gimbals. They're definitely better than the standard gimbals in terms of the feel, but they're still plastic-based gimbals at the end of the day. But if your radio does have that problem with you can't get full motion on your sticks, open it up and twist those wires, and then you should, when you close it up, make sure that they're out of the way of everything, and then your stick should be okay. So unfortunately, I can't show you much of anything else because I can't get this turned on. The screen here is not detachable. It is basically like a really tiny OLED screen, and it's about the same dimensions as the T-Lite or the X-Lite, but it's a super tiny. So if you don't like super tiny screens, then yeah, this is not going to be for you. But mainly this is like a backup radio. It has, you can stick this in the bag. It's got gimbal protectors, and there's nothing that can get like chopped off. No switches will get broken off, etc. And I actually had another one of these. They sent me an early prototype. They had OpenTX on it that I've been using. Some of you might have caught my accidental little sneak peek of that in one of my old videos. That was not intentional, but I've been using that one. That one's been okay. That one I had to flash everything manually, and I've been told that the hardware changed from that version to this version. They have like several prototypes, and then again, this is still a prototype at the end of the day. So I can't really make a full review video on this until I get the final version that has all the proper software on here and is actually able to be updated in ExpressLRS configurator, and I can update the firmware with HTX Buddy, all those things. And the source code has to be released as well because these are open source projects on here, and those things need to be done. One more feature that I should note, and obviously with this being internal ExpressLRS, if you want to put a multi-protocol module on the back here, it does support that. It does do the internal and external modules. I'm told that will work. And strangely also, I've been told that they're going to go from the 500 milliwatts initially advertised back down to 250 milliwatts on the internal module. So that might change as well. So again, a lot of things are up in the air. But I wanted to at least get this video out on, a lot of people had a lot of questions based on the post I made. I didn't want to make a video because it's not, what I have here isn't necessarily what you'll be getting if you order it. I don't really know what exactly that's going to be, but yeah, there's been, there's definitely some QC issues here, and I would have made a video if they didn't release it for pre-order. If they had waited until everything was in the ExpressLRS configurator and all the software was out, and I was able to update this, and then they released it for pre-order, then that's fine, because that's exactly what happened with the Zorro. I mean, I had the radio before it was pre-released, but they didn't put it out for pre-order until things were finished, and that's kind of the whole point, is well, they kind of jumped the gun and put it out for pre-order when they shouldn't have, when it's not actually done and ready to go for customers. And we don't know when that's going to be. There's no release time for that, so that's a problem. Anyway, hopefully they'll send me another one that's properly working, and I'll make a formal review video on that. But I just wanted to, let you guys know where things stand and what you can expect. They are, in terms of like OpenTX, EdgeTX software and ExpressLRS firmware, they're kind of, I don't know, they're kind of new to this, especially on the OpenTX stuff. I don't think they have any other OpenTX radios, if I remember correctly. So they have a learning curve over there. They need to figure things out. I'm sure they will eventually figure it out, but keep in mind that this is probably their first like sort of professional type radio, even though it is really basically like a entry-level radio at the end of the day at $90. But yeah, they have some things to work out. So until they do, hopefully they will soon. Hopefully soon. But in terms of yeah, again, yeah, I'm not gonna. I can't make any formal conclusions on this radio. I can just tell you exactly what I experienced, and this is pretty much exactly the way it went for me. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And hopefully they'll send me another one so I can make another video on this. That's gonna do it for this one. Talk to you later.